You know that feeling when someone shows up for you just when you need it most? That's what Uber is all about. Not just a ride or dinner at your door. It's how Uber helps you show up for the moments that matter. Because showing up can turn a tough day around or make a good one even better. Whatever it is, big or small, Uber is on the way. So you can be on yours. Uber, on our way.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Hi, I'm Tom Cock. In the financial planning, financial advice industry, that word sort of always will always get you in trouble, right? The generalization, the everybody should do this, with a very few exceptions. I mean, really should always use index or index-like funds. You really always should be globally diversified. You really always should keep your costs low. Once you get past that, it gets murky. So there's a lot of concern when the high-profile people make these blanket statements. And one of those high-profile people, in fact, she's even called in the article personal finance celebrity, Suze Orman, or as my mother used to call her, Suze. Suze Orman says retirement savers should steer clear of traditional accounts, in other words, sort of pre-tax savings, and put it all into Roth, especially during the global pandemic. Now, I have no idea what the especially during global pandemic means. I'm going to set that aside. I don't know where that comment comes from. But should everyone just be saving post-tax money into their retirement accounts? Is it really as easy as all of that? And of course, you already know by my setup that the answer is no. Now, Susie says, here's her rationale. Quote, do you really think that tax brackets aren't going to have to go up in 5, 10, 15 years from now in order to pay for all the debt that we're carrying? Of course, they're going to have to. This was part of her podcast chat. And this is where I always run into the problem. Yes, tax rates are historically pretty low. So that does often make people think, well, I should just go ahead and pay the tax today and get all these years of tax-free growth and take the money out tax-free. Sounds very appealing. Number one, nobody knows where tax rates are going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. Nobody knows. Have we taken on a lot of debt? Absolutely. Might tax rates stay low, growth goes up, pays for it? Nobody knows. So do not base your decision on what tax rates have to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years from now, because nobody knows. But here's another way. I mean, first of all, as I mentioned, giving global blanket advice on finances, that's just a very tricky business. Because really, the simple truth about traditional versus Roth in my mind is the following. If your tax rate is kind of high today, you might want to take some of the money pre-tax, reduces your tax bill, right? Because it's going to reduce your income. And the idea would be that when you retire, your tax rate would be lower than it is today. You take that money out at a lower tax rate after all that growth. By the way, there's not a whole lot of ways to itemize anymore, so having a reduced amount of sort of taxable income is not a bad idea. Now, if you're a very young person and you're just starting out and your income is low, yeah, I think the Roth makes a ton of sense. Sure, take your lumps, pay the tax on whatever's going to go in there and get, as Susie correctly points out, decades of tax-free growth. Huge advantage. But there isn't one sort of everybody one size fits all. It's not a good idea. A couple other things to think about around all this. Now, remember, the government has given you a break on required minimum distribution. So if you don't need to take money out of your retirement accounts, you don't have to start until age 72 now. Plus, they're giving you a break this year. Plus, they're giving you another break this year when they just announced that if you've already taken money out of your retirement accounts and paid tax, you can put it back in without penalty. So that's a really good idea. And not, again, all advice is one size fits all. Here are my suggestions, okay? Number one, when it comes to retirement accounts at work, always get the match. Save at least up to the amount the employer is going to give you. That's free money. That should be one big ding, ding, ding right away. And sadly, I see employers already starting to cut this because of tough times. Number 2, here's an idea. For those of you kind of in the middle here, my tax rate's pretty low, but I don't know what it's going to be in retirement. How about splitting the money between the traditional and the Roth? Then when you get to retirement, you have several buckets, as it were, to draw from. And for many people, it could be the traditional, it could be the Roth, and it could then be a taxable account. Works very well when you're starting to do those draws in retirement. Number 3 suggestion, really up till age, I'd say at least 50, be as stock heavy as you can. What's he talking about? Be as committed to being in stocks as you possibly can take. I mean, the pain this spring when your portfolio went down hopefully didn't make you do anything. I know it did to many people because we saw the numbers, especially those 65 and older. But you should be committed to stocks. You should be buying those stocks today because prices are still down. Yeah, it sounds complicated, and for many of you, if you need advice, you got to find the right place to get it. That's why we're doing a special podcast, a webinar on July 1st at 8 o'clock Pacific time. And you can sign up for that at Talking Real Money as well. And in like 30 minutes, Don and I will talk about really where to find good advice, how to avoid bad brokers, and how to get all of this right. Thank you for listening. I'm Tom Cock.
Talking Real Money. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately and consistently predict the future. So past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That's a wrap.